I bet you have seen this picture somewhere, or something similar. And it's no surprise, it is pretty much the embodiment of a liminal space. It's an eerie and oddly familiar representation of a place with one notable detail: there are no humans. Before diving any deeper into this topic, it's important to define a liminal space. According to the official subreddits, a liminal space is the time between the what was and the next, a place of transition. And according to Wikipedia, liminality is the quality of ambiguity or disorientation that occurs in the middle stage of rite passage. The page also qualifies it as a threshold. So, it is a transitional stage between one place to another. To get a better idea, feel free to visit the Wikipedia page to learn more about liminality. There's a lot to learn from there. And also check out the subreddits, but we'll get to that later. The answer will mostly be based on my opinion, but I'm pretty sure that some of the points I will make will also apply to other people. Firstly, it's the absence of any human figures. It adds to that feeling of disorientation. You end up in a man-made place, but there is nobody. Everything looks untouched, almost like something was there, but vanished. And that's an idea that will develop a bit more later. But that's in the case where there is something. In some pictures, there is nothing. Just walls, a roof, and that's it. It's even more disorienting. Your brain tries to make sense of what you're watching, but it kind of fails to do so. And that's the great thing about liminal spaces representations. It adds up to the creepy and disorienting feeling that comes to your mind when you try to visualize liminal spaces. And to get to that illusion, you need to portray a human-made structure. A representation of nature won't be as much unsettling as any other representation. Secondly, it's the claustrophobic setting. A lot of representation portray closed areas like offices, hallways, playgrounds, or other closed areas. In most cases, the ceiling is low and the whole room is narrow. And even when the room looks wide, there is no exit to be found. You feel trapped. And it feels like an endless succession of rooms or hallways. Though, there are some representations of the outside world. A famous representation portrays an empty parking lot. Here, the eeriness comes from the fact that those places are usually populated, almost crowded. It's quite unusual to see an empty parking lot or a gas station. So once again, you feel disoriented. Finally, it's the familiar feeling. Liminal spaces are often associated with nostalgia and moments. An empty house will remind you of moving out. A playground will remind you of your childhood. An airport will remind you of traveling, and the list goes on. This is a very peculiar thing about liminal spaces. They are strongly linked to personal experiences, and representation will be more or less creepy depending on one's experiences. That make liminal spaces very subjective. That's why you may not find the pictures I've chosen unsettling, because I selected them because they made me unsettled. So again, to explore this topic more on your own, check out the subreddits. You'll find what kind of representations feels off to you. Nostalgia is even more reinforced when considering the fact that most representations are set during the 90s and early 2000s. And note how these representations use phobias as a way to unsettle you. Agoraphobia for the wide open areas, claustrophobia for the closed areas, mesiophobia for the fear of getting or being lost, nyctophobia for the fear of dark, or even autophobia for the fear of being alone. Just kinophobia, which is the fear of empty spaces, is just the whole concept. Everything is used to make you feel uncomfortable. A famous way to experience with liminal spaces are source engine games, with Gmod being quite famous for that. It's easy to understand why. The realistic textures, the old graphics, and the emptiness of it all are factors to unsettle you. Minecraft is also a great example. The sheer creativity the game leaves for the players just allows for buildings that would be perfect representations. Not only players will reproduce famous images, but they will also create their own liminal spaces that players will most likely relate to, like the endless tunnel of a mineshaft. Okay, so the next few minutes will be dedicated to a little adventure through the subreddits. It's a small experiment that you can do at home as well. The goal of the experiment is to see what kind of representation makes me feel entitled. I'm recording it so you can see my raw impression about the pictures I come across. And you can also see different representations of liminal spaces that I haven't shown so far. Okay, everyone. So we're on the subreddit right now, and well, let's get right into it. So this is the first picture we see. Um, this one doesn't really seems eerie to me. I think that what really unnerves me is when there are closed spaces here. It is a bit disturbing because we expect to see people walking and cars driving all along the way, because it's really large, so we expect that there is a lot of traffic. But here there's just nothing, so it is a bit unnerving, but not as much as other things, to be honest. Then, again, um, this doesn't seem eerie to me, mainly because we see that human is there. It's actively present, like there's this light here that just shows that there is human activity, and I think it's a bit too small of a picture. It doesn't show enough things to be liminal. Not saying that this is not liminal, but it doesn't unsettle me. Just looks like a regular picture of a little fire pit in a garden. Okay, this one is a lot more unsettling, just for the points we've made previously. Like it is just a big alley, and there's nobody. It's like this is a bit unnerving because you expect to see people here, people walking all around the alleys and all. So yeah, this is disturbing. This one is a bit disturbing, not as much as others I've seen, but it is disturbing. This one too. This one too. This one is pretty great. Um, and you see the phobias, mainly the fear of dark is quite well represented. And this picture is strange because yeah, okay, it's like a paint shop, so it makes sense that there is a lot of stains of paint all around, because that's a bit strange. I was trying to understand why everything looked so dirty, and yet there were people that would be eating here. But no, it makes sense, I guess. So yeah, this one is pretty cool. I like this one. Um, this one doesn't make anything to me. Like I said, the problem with um, the problem with representations of nature is that you expect to see nobody, because nature is always that kind of place where there would be little to no people, because it's so wide. It's nature, you will expect to see animals or even nothing. Like this is pretty much a desert, so you don't even expect to see animals, so it doesn't feel so unnerving to me. Again, it's only to me. People may find this unsettling. That's totally okay. Again, liminal spaces are very, very subjective, so it may vary on anybody. This one doesn't seem very unsettling to me. This one, it's the pro things but 10 times more unsettling for one reason. The ceiling is really low, okay? So this is something that I really found unnerving for some reason. When the ceiling is low, I just tend to think that it is a lot more dangerous. And here again, no humans, large alleys, and low ceiling. They all make out for something quite unsettling. Okay, this one is creepy. Okay, this one is quite creepy. Again, why? Maybe the fact that it seems a bit closed, and yeah, it's empty. It's a bit dark. It doesn't look like it's light up. Looks like more of the flash of the camera. I don't know. It's pretty strange. I like this one. This one is pretty good. Again, this one doesn't seem too liminal for me. It's beautiful though. It's really beautiful, but no, not really liminal to me. Okay, this one again. Okay, so this one is strange. It is a mall. Nothing really makes sense. Like, yeah, I like this one. This one is pretty cool too. Mainly for the fact that I can't really make out of you know, like there are things everywhere. It's a bit strange. Your eyes is always caught to something, like this thing here, those things here, this huge thing here. I don't know what this is. Like your eyes is always caught to something, and it's obstructed the way, and it's kind of strange. The place is really crowded with objects. That's very strange. And again, no humans in sight. That's the common trope among all of the things you've seen so far. There are no humans, and this is really what qualifies a liminal space. It's creepy for that. Do I like this one? Okay, this one is creepy on its own, but not as a liminal space. For one reason, it looks abandoned. So for me, it doesn't correspond with the trope of liminal spaces. A liminal spaces for me is really something human that is untouched. Here, it's obvious that this one has been abandoned for quite a while, so it's not unsettling to me. It's creepy because it's abandoned, and like, the heck is doing this poster here? But otherwise, yeah, that's not too liminal for me because I don't expect to see humans here since it's abandoned, and like the place doesn't look new. It looks really old, and nature has done something here, obviously. So yeah, that's the end of the experiment. Thank you guys, and we'll go for the last part of the video. The untouched look of the artificial environment gives out an apocalyptic feeling. You easily make out the fact that someone lived here, that people used to walk there, but the whole intact look seems off because you start to wonder what happened there. Why is there no one here? It's like humanity just vanished out of existence, living an infinite world of creepiness. When faced to a liminal space, I feel extremely alone. I feel like I travel to another dimension, very similar to our world, with the only difference that it looks like it has just been abandoned. And that's the beauty of liminal spaces. Just one picture makes you travel out of this world. And humans are highly social beings. It's something we have easily been noticing ever since the beginning of the pandemic. The quarantine made us realize how important social interactions are, and it's nothing new to know that a lack of social interactions can make someone go crazy. Here, there is no one. You are alone. This picture is made in a way that makes you feel unsettled by the lack of human figures. We're not used to see empty supermarkets. Though the few times we found ourselves in a situation where often crowded places are empty, we start to imagine weird scenarios for the sole reason that we are not used to see that. Same thing happens when you come across a liminal space representation. A great example is the end level of the back rooms. It's a library, but empty. The ones at the counter, the ones inside, even the books are missing. It doesn't make sense, yet you can still recognize some things. You feel like you've been there, But when you dig inside your memories, nothing looks exactly like that. And that familiar feeling triggers disorientation. It's almost like it's playing with your memories. That's a common trope among representations, because they are made in a way that they are easily recognizable. They look like anything you'd see in your life, yet they look nothing like what you have seen. So, expect more videos on that topic. I just find liminal spaces fascinating. The fact that one single picture can unsettle you without having any dismembered creatures is incredible.